I've been waiting to actually drop my opinions on the new football league tonight. Yeah, Channel 5's new offering. On a personal note, actually more of a professional note, as a video editor myself, wasn't keen on it. To me, obviously we are very happy that the Championship, League 1, League 2, the Sky Bet Football League has got its own show, and it's not in kind of the graveyard shift that it used to be in. But the fact of the matter is, in terms of production value, that's obviously more of a kind of production kind of term. But the fact of the matter is, production value, it just looks like an El Cheapo version of Saturday Night Football on Sky Sports. It looks I don't know, it just looks very cheap. I personally want, this is just me, and from what I wanted from it, I wanted to see a lot more action. It's one of them was the fact of, yeah, you know what, I think Kenny's right. Highlights being on the BBC and adverts ruin things. I mean, you can do a good highlight show with adverts. The Champions League highlights that Sky Sports do prove that. But for me, I'm not keen on the set. I'm not keen on the fact that they've got an audience in there, but they don't really use them to great effect. In terms of, if you're going to have an audience, I mean, it's one of them. There was one point where this is basic video production, where if you're going to have an audience in studio and you're going to throw questions out to them and let them speak, at least have someone operating a boom mic, or just have someone pass a microphone around at the very least. At least have that. That is basic video production stuff. So, I mean, it's one of them was I just wasn't really happy with it. I mean, the format of the Football League show on BBC was perfectly fine. Manish Bassin and Leroy Rossignol or Steve Claridge didn't so much mind that, because the main focus was the action. They would go through, right, here's the featured game in the Championship, highlights of that. Then they'd go through the rest of the Championship and then be like, right, that's that. Let's have a little brief talk about that. Then let's go into League 1. Have the highlights of that, maybe even a featured game. Then that format just works. For me, it's a case of that format works. At least they're not throwing to a television truck where they've got Andy Townsend in an awful doo-doo brown shirt talking smack at 7:30 in the evening. At least it's not as bad as that. Because when the Premiership was first around, that was what it was, and it was like, oh, this is awful. Even as a youngster, it was like, oh no. But the women's football show I was watching earlier, and the women's football show, that's how you know a channel that is used to producing quality content in comparison to a commercial entity that really should be doing more, that really should be producing better content, considering they've got money to put into it. But the fact of the matter is, it can only get better. And I said, the women's football show, I actually really enjoy that. Timing's a little awkward because obviously we're setting up for PT, but in terms of as a program, which I encourage everyone to watch, 7 till 7:30 p.m. on the BBC Red Button, and also it's at 11:20, so straight after your Monday Night Football and Fix, you can watch that and give us some feedback on what you thought. But the women's football show, like it. The format is nice and snappy. Jump back to studio briefly, then go into more highlights, then a little special feature. Like that. That format works. It's like what they used to do on the Football League show with Clem, and they used to throw over to a special feature with him visiting a ground. It worked. As a format, it worked. But this El Cheapo equivalent, and I know someone's going to bring up, yeah, but it's filmed at the Sky Studios in Osterley. Yeah, I realise that. It's filmed at the Sky Studios in Osterley, but it doesn't mean you have to copy exactly what they do for Saturday Night Football, but with a lot less of a budget. Because that's what it ends up looking like, just an El Cheapo version of Saturday Night Football. I understand you filmed them both in the same place, but it doesn't mean they've got to look alike. I don't know. For me, Kelly Cates as a presenter, I actually don't mind her. but it was the lead male presenter not so keen on him. Not really so keen on him. Seemed that he had kind of scripted ad-libs and that. So anyway, it's one of them. But that's my view on it. Would anyone else like to jump in with their view? I wouldn't mind hearing some other views. I mean, Ryan, what did you think of the new Football League highlights show, the inaugural episode on Channel 5? What do you think of it?
To be honest, I thought it was absolute crap. It was, I mean, I came in from a night out and I thought, I'll put it on because I've recorded it. I thought, I'll put it on. So I put it on and they showed Bristol City, Sheffield Wednesday. Obviously, yeah, I will respect to that. Showing a team that did well in League One last season against a mid-table Sheffield Wednesday team. Yeah. All right. Yeah. And then they go to a League One team next. And I'm
yeah. That bouncing about between the leagues was actually a bit annoying. Because imagine someone coming and watching. They had never watched the Football League before. That would be really confusing. You're going from Championship to League Two, then coming back up to League One, then go back to Championship, then come back. It's confusing.
You would have thought that Sheffield United game, like Sheffield United versus whoever it was, I can't remember who it was now, were in the same league as Sheffield Wednesday and Bristol City. But it was just appalling. I mean, the adverts kind of ruined it. And, I mean, I'm not a big fan of adverts in TV programmes that are going to be running for good. I mean, if you're going to put adverts in, make sure it's about the subject of what it's a football league show, so make adverts about football.
Well, because Channel 5 are a bit hamstrung with that because it's a commercial network. They can't just have football adverts. I mean, it's like it's like what they used to do with World Championship Wrestling, WCW, back in the 90s during the Monday Night Wars. Actually, no, even before that, when it was NWA Championship Wrestling, where they used to strategically position shows before and after it, because the NWA had such good ratings. They would put shows before it to get their ratings up, and shows after it, because they would hope that people would tune in just before and tune in and stay just a little bit after, and then they get the other shows around the ratings up. Same with adverts as well, where it's a case of, if you want to advertise Nivea for men, for instance, where there's Liverpool players in that advert, you would put that during the Football League show. It's not a football advert, but it's got football stars in it. But also betting adverts, that kind of thing, you might crowbar in, because it's prime time as well, it's even harder to leverage just put in football related adverts only on it. So that's one thing that Channel 5 do have to deal with.
The BBC did it, and obviously they did it because obviously they don't have adverts during shows.
Well, that's because they're basically taxpayer funded. They're funded by the television license, and they're not a commercial entity. Whereas ITV and Channel 5, how they make their money is largely from advertising. So that's the reason for that.
But on the other note, on Football League tonight, I mean, having a live audience, what was the actual point in that? And I mean, they say about the Twitter as well, right? They said if you tweet in, you'll get a mention. Well, a few people will get a mention. I don't think
they did. They didn't mention any, did they?
I don't think they mentioned any. I mean, I turned it off after the second lot of adverts because it basically threw me, and I was like, really? And then because I was on Skype to a fellow Argo fan, I was actually talking to him, and he just went, "Do you want to see the highlights of Argo?" And I went, "Go on then." So he showed me them. I was like,
yeah.
I mean, apparently the highlights that they showed on Argo were like 12 seconds or something, and I mean,
you've got to bear in mind, I watched a version without the adverts, and the length of basically breaking it down. Without the adverts, it's an hour and a half slot, but it doesn't mean you're getting an hour and a half of programming. Now, a half an hour program, once you factor in adverts, is only about 23 minutes over here. In the United States, it's 21 because they have adverts every 7 minutes. But basically, we're lucky that we only get adverts on the quarter hours. We get them every 15 minutes, which means basically, as I said, a half an hour show breaks down to about 23 minutes. An hour show breaks down to about 47 minutes. So that's the case. So basically, the football
60 minutes or so.
Well, the new Football League Tonight show is basically an hour and 6 minutes. Now you compare that to the Football League show, which was a clean hour and a half. That's half an hour's worth of stuff that you've got to cut out. Plus, you've got the live audience that they're clearly going to try and make use of at some point. But I personally don't think they've got the format right. In all honesty, but that's me coming from a video production background, obviously with what we do with PT. So obviously, I'm going to be a little more critical about it. But one person I'd like to throw to in regards to this actually, because I know Russ and Mike Kahneman want to jump in on this. Kenny, seeing as you were part of a show called Sports Tonight, what is your view as well? Because you've got somewhat of an insider perspective, especially in terms of television style production. What did you think? Did you manage to see the new Football League highlight show on Channel 5?
Yeah, of course, some of it. I think I agree with what a lot of people were saying. I was quite disappointed with it. It had no structure because what was happening, it was going from Championship to League One, then League Two, and everything. It didn't have some sort of structure. It's like normally, you had the Championship, then you go down the levels, and I think football fans in general wouldn't mind that. So I think that's one of the worst things. So I think when you do the social media things that I was doing before, one of the things that used to quite annoy me a little bit at Sports Tonight, especially towards the end, was a lack of structure and organisation. Because once you get the organisation and structure down, people just switch off. And even people who want to get involved in the show on a professional level will go elsewhere. I think that's where the Football League needs to get on. But again, they've got to pay the bills. You've got to have the adverts on. Yeah. But it's all about structure. A studio audience, for me, does not work. It's a waste of time. It's people are not going to get their say, especially, I think they're better off having a Twitter thing. But again, so many people are going to want to be getting on Twitter and getting their views over. You're not going to get everyone's views at all. So again, at the end of the day, someone like myself who's watching who's a football fan, want to see football action. Yeah. That's all I want to see. I don't want to see highlights. I want to see highlights. I don't want to see interaction with other fans or an argument between them. I just want to see action. I don't want to see too much of Kelly Cates, lovely woman that she is, or the other guy, George Riley, as well. I just want the action. That's what we got when we watched Football League highlights last year with Manish and Leroy Senor. That's what we want.
No,
people.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. And my concern is, I mean, hopefully it'll be one of them ones where that'll be the inaugural show, and hopefully they're listening to Pitch Talk Live because we're trying to give some advice. It's one of them ones. We're not just sniping and that kind of thing. We're actually trying to give advice. It's constructive here. It's one of them ones because it's very easy to say that there's a problem. It's a lot more positive and proactive to try and give a solution and help with a solution. It's one of them ones, and they should really be paying us for this discussion. But it is a case of, yeah, it did seem like it lacked a bit of structure. I mean, even the bits with Martin Allen, similar to what I've been saying about the Javon Prince show. If anyone's watching that, it's a case of.
I know Jerome Bruce very well.
I think he's hilarious on Phone Shop, but on his own show, there's a lot of those jokes that take a while to get to the punchline. Now with the Javon Prince show, that's the way I'm kind of seeing it. And even when I'm watching it with my brother, my mum and my sister, it was a case of like, yeah, where's the punchline? It should have come a couple minutes ago. Now I've drifted off, and if I wasn't somewhat attentive, I would have forgotten what the original setup to the joke was. But it's a case of some of the Martin Allen segments just went on way too long. So that's my view anyway. But I mean, Mike Harneman, did you wanna jump in, and then we'll have Ross Vern, and then we got to move on. After.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to sort of say that I agree with the majority of the points. I think the Football League show was a lot better the way that it was sort of already being run. Obviously, we had Clem, as you touched on already, Liam as well, with the the special features and stuff, which always added to it. And I think as much as the new show has its potential,
yeah, definitely,
and it can go somewhere, but I'm not sure what kind of route they want to go down, because obviously the live audience wasn't really being spoken to or anything much, apart from for once or twice on predictions of who's going to finish where in the league or who's favourites on whatever league and so on.
Well, even when they did, we couldn't hear the guy because it seemed like they had the live audience there. They were willing to throw questions to him a couple of times, but it seemed like the production crew didn't know. So again, what Kenny said in terms of that lack of organisation, that's a pretty amateur. That does look quite amateurish. There's no point you throwing questions out to the audience if you can't hear them.
But hopefully, as you said, that's kind of just where it was the first show. They kind of going to watch it back and kind of learn from the mistakes that they've made on that one, and
definitely,
go better from that.
I really hope so, because the Football League needs the exposure, especially with the Premier League taking over Friday nights. This kind of exposure is going to become even more crucial in terms of getting fans in and getting fans buying into the Sky Bet Football League, because it's fantastic action. There's nothing wrong with the action. It's just the exposure.
Yeah, and just like two more little side points. One, I just want to say a good thing on their part is obviously it's still going to be on when there's no championship action. So that's obviously quite pleasing to know that you can still follow League One and League Two. When championship teams are involved in cup action and so on.
Yeah, great. Yeah,
so it's always great to know. But then, kind of not meaning to throw it back down again and bring it back down again, but if you notice at the end of the show, they were talking to Martin Allen and I think Adam Virgo throughout the show as well. And I noticed this straight away. They mentioned something to Martin Allen. I think it was like on the goodbye section, sort of saying thank you for joining us and whatever. And Adam Virgo was just left there. I don't even think they mentioned his name. That is very if that's true, and if that's like how it was meant to be, I don't know, but it's just really, really odd for me, that.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, as I said, the exposure now because it's even more crucial. So I'm just hoping they get it right and they develop the format and get it really down. Because even with us here on Pitch Talk Live, it took us a while to get our format down and really refined. We know what we're doing, but it was a case of, if you listen to some of our earlier shows, I'm talking 2010 early, because we started 2 weeks before the World Cup, then you can see a progression. It's like our videos as well, our earlier videos from back in mid 2010, you can see the progression, and that's always important. But hey, you got to start somewhere, and at least the ball is rolling. In the words of Shane Douglas, or well, his real name Troy Martin, on his Breaking Kayfabe interview, talk good about me, talk bad about me, as long as you're talking about me. So it's one of them ones. But Ross Vernon,
just want to say I look forward to hopefully being proved wrong as well on what I've said, and hopefully it does. Hopefully it does improve from that week. Obviously, it's got potential, as I've said. So let's hopefully it picks up from that week and grows on the people that are saying, including myself, about how poor it was run the first show.
Yeah, I mean, I'll persevere with it and keep watching it because I want to watch the Football League action, but some people may not be as generous as me. Ross Vernon, you wanted to jump in before we got to move on?
Yeah, cause I actually taped it because it was at my uncle's, and then I watched it yesterday and I watched it Saturday night after match of the day because it's also repeated on Spike TV, which is on Freeview and Sky.
And what did you think of it?
And I thought the format was ridiculous, really. I would have stuck with the same format as what the Football League show did. which do Championship, then move on to League One, and then move on to League Two, not swapping and changing, like you guys have said so far. I think like I was saying at the end, I also noticed that Bard and Virgo didn't get mentioned when they were finishing off. And to answer your question on Twitter, I would change the format. I'd do Championship first, then do League One, then League Two, and probably have a featured game from each division to make it more interesting. And also, one other thing I would change is, instead of, because I don't know if you noticed this, Liam, on the Leeds United v Burnley match and the Brighton against Forest game on the Football League tonight, they used the same commentators as what Sky Sports had at the game. What I would do, instead of using their commentary and their commentators, I would get their own commentary team. If they want two people there, or just one, like the Football League show did, have just one person there for themselves, do the commentary for the Football League tonight, and have Sky have their own. Because if you're watching it, if you watch the game live and then you're going to watch it again on highlights, you'll have already heard what the Sky commentators have said, so you want to hear someone else's opinion on the goals that's been scored or the incidents that happened in the game, not the same commentators that you had at lunchtime or Friday night as Brighton's game was shown.
Do you know what? Okay, do you know what?
That's my opinion.
Do you know what? I'm gonna come back to that. I'm gonna come back to that point. I'm gonna come back to that point. Basically, as I said, just looking at a couple of things on Twitter as well, we put out the question, what would you change about it? Did you watch Channel 5's Football League tonight inaugural show? What did you think of it? What would you change about it? At Kane Football on Twitter has said everything. At Richard Morpeth has asked how long was the show, and ads aside, was it roughly the same length as what it was when it was on BBC? No, BBC it was about an hour and a half, whereas all told on the on Channel 5 it was about an hour 6 minutes. But Kane Football has also said it just doesn't need to be a show with rubbish gimmicks, wooden presenters, and with awful forced banter. Just show highlights. And yeah, we know that is actually Kane Bennett. The fact is, in terms of same commentators and that kind of thing, getting your own commentators in would be a little pointless. You may as well, seeing as they're broadcasting it from Sky Studios, they've probably edited it at Sky as well, so they've probably got easy access, so that if Sky have shown a game that day, then it just makes sense to use their commentary and basically repurpose it for the show highlights, because they're going to be using Sky's feed in terms of footage, just overlaid with different graphics. And also there's also issues within, I mean, imagine Channel 5 has paid for the rights to show highlights, and they've also paid rights to the commentary. It doesn't make any sense to go out and base it, because it takes time to revoice stuff and make it fit. That is an art form unto itself, so that takes time as well. So you can't, so it's not as simple as people think in terms of, oh, why don't you just get your own commentators and do it again? Because then you've got to cut the highlights down and then have someone come in and revoice it. Not only is that an extra expense, that will take up a lot of time as well. And the turnaround, let's say most of those games were at 3 o'clock, you've got to have that pretty much edited. If it's going on air at say 7-8 o'clock, you need to have that edited by 6 o'clock, 6:30 at a push, so it can go through quality control, it can go through color correction, that kind of thing as well, and so that the edits are actually done properly. So as I said, this is more coming from kind of a video production background, which, as some people will know, I'm a video editor by trade, and even though I've worked for smaller companies, obviously you get to do certain things. And of course, with Pitch Talk Live and kind of PT on the road and that kind of thing, we have our own ways we produce our own content. So there's kind of somewhat of an inside knowledge in that regard. But that's some of the things that make it not as easy as people think in terms of changing stuff. But it is one of them ones. It is one of them ones. And at Richard Morpeth on Twitter said, seems shorter than when it was on BBC. Yeah, it's shorter by the show's shorter by about at least half an hour. So it's one of them ones, you've got to cram that in. Plus they're trying to get the audience involved as well. I personally don't think a show like that really needs an audience. Saturday Night Football, it's fine to have an audience on it because Sky have got like a 2-3 hour block. They've got like a 2-3 hour block where they've literally blocked that out for the match, and Sky can do that. So if you've got that, you can throw to the audience just to fill time if you really want to. You could get the audience to help fill time for you if you're running short. But it is a case of when you've got an hour show and you're trying to get through 40 or 50 matches, there's just, as Kenny said, there's just no point really having an audience in there. Otherwise your highlights suffer because they've got to be really short. So it's an interesting one. It is an interesting one. It is a very interesting one. Richard Morpeth on Twitter has said, seems BBC showed more action from the games in Channel 5. Yeah, they did. They did show more action. And it was clearly delineated as well. You knew what was coming at what point. The only bad thing was just the time slot. But if you're up already for match of the day, then it segues in very nicely because it's straight after. So it's one of them. As Mike Horniman rightly put it, I'm hoping that it gets better. Things can only get better in terms of football, in terms of the new Football League highlight show on Channel 5.